Good evening. This is Emery Christie coming to you from Lloydminster, Alberta, Canada, with messages, magic, and musings on A1R Psychic Radio. Thank you for joining me tonight. I thought I would take a moment and share with you something new that I got. One of my favorite things is actually anything metaphysical, whether it's crystals, cards, books, wonderful little gadgets, anything for divination. And I picked up this wonderful deck, the Archetypes deck. And so this is The Wild Unknown Archetypes by Kim Kranz. And honestly, everything about this is gorgeous. Now, I don't personally use cards to read other people. I more so use them for myself. I love this deck. As you can see, absolutely gorgeous. Now, there's nothing about this deck that isn't beautiful. The box that the cards come in, round, diamond on them. And just to give you a little idea of what we're dealing with, here they are. And they're all just beautiful, brightly colored. So I drew one for us tonight, a little message for the group, for the collective. And the card that I drew is called The Womb. And this card is a message of love. This card says that everything has an origin story. The womb archetype asks us to contemplate the beginning beyond the beginning, the mother beyond the mother, in a world that often negates the power and necessity of feminine principles. This card returns us to the warmth, tenderness, and sacred intelligence from which we came. It is a card of receiving, not achieving, of accepting love from the mother of us all. She is the life-giving force, that forgives and cherishes even the most wounded and desperate soul. No matter how lost you are, the womb awaits your return to help you heal and grow. This card is a call to keep things simple, to return to be reborn in the name of love. The womb is everywhere. It is beyond gender, beyond time. We are within it as it is within us. And the side note says, what would honoring the feminine look like to you? Where would you begin? Imagine yourself as loved. It's a good place to start. Now, that's one thing the world needs more of, isn't it? Especially right now, as there's so much contention among people and in different ways around the world. So I ask you in your prayers or in your intention setting to call in nourishment, harmony, warmth, and love for yourself first, and then to share that with others. So I wanted to walk you through something tonight. I thought I would take you through the practice of grounding yourself. Now, there's so many different ways to ground yourself. And my favorite practice is a simple intention-based visualization or meditation, if you will. Very short, very brief. It's something simple that you can do to bring yourself back to a place of calm, of balance, of focus. And, if you understand what the term grounding is, connected to the root chakra, the energy center at the base of our tailbone, that center is all about safety and security, calm, focus, having our basic needs met. Anytime we experience change, lack, or loss, anything that kind of disrupts our sense of safety and security, it can throw us off in a way that we might be more prone to fear-based thoughts, sleep disturbances, issues with eating, anxiety, depression, negative thoughts, fear-based thoughts, in addition to even digestive problems, responding in ways we typically don't. And the practice of grounding is a really important one because it's something to bring us back to a state of calm. We all need that at times. It is a wonderful daily practice, if you will, or at times when you recognize that you need to return back to that center of balance. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, and I want you to follow along, as long as you're not driving, that is. So I want you to focus. Now, as we do this, don't worry if you don't see anything. I just want you to observe what you do experience. So I want you to focus on your lower back, a round red spinning wheel, if you are someone that's visual that sees this, at the back of your hips near the base of your tailbone. And that is the root chakra. I want you to envision or imagine Roots sprouting out of it into your hips, flowing down through your thighs. And your roots stretch down further, down through your knees, down through your lower legs. And the roots push down further, down through your feet and into the grass below you. And again, we'll send those roots down further, moving them down from the grass, down through the soil, down through the sand, down through the clay, down through the gemstone and the rock, moving those roots all the way down through the hot lava until your roots reach the core of the earth. Now, for anyone who is, again, visual at this point, you may see a round ball of rock in the center. Whether you see it or not, know that it's there. I want you to take the ends of your roots that are dangling at that place and wrap them around the core. Once they're wrapped around, I want you to visualize or imagine tying them in a knot. And then I want you to double or triple your knot, just anchoring you as though you are literally held down to the ground by this root tied around the core. Now I want you to focus, now that you're anchored, on breathing deeply. And with every deep breath, I want you to know that you're breathing the energy up just a little at a time through those roots, breathing the grounding earth energy up from the core, up through the roots, through the hot lava, drawing it up through the roots again, breathing it into the rock and the gemstone, moving it up further through the roots into the clay, into the sand, breathing it up into the soil and the grass, drawing it up further into your feet, into your lower legs, bringing it up again into your knees, into your thighs, drawing it all the way up into your hips. And with your next deep breath, I want you to intend that you're breathing that grounding energy directly into your root chakra. And now I want you to take another deep breath, intending that you breathe that energy all the way through the rest of your body and into your aura, your energetic being that goes beyond your physical. And then we are just going to finish this grounding off with protection. So we are going to call on God or any other divine source energy by any name you choose, and ask that you be filled with divine energy source, pouring all through you and all around you. And then we're going to ask Spirit for protection. And then I want you to visualize a glass bubble that goes beyond your aura and beyond that protection. And I want you to remember that anything that comes up to the glass, any energy that belongs to anyone else, it can come up to the glass where you can witness it, but it cannot come in. There is a separation between you and the energy of others. And you can clean that glass off anytime you like. You are welcome to repeat this practice at any point when you feel like you need grounding. And you may open your eyes. Now, I would like you to know that should you choose to, there are other things that you may do to benefit your energy. If you're finding yourself quite sensitive, you are absolutely able to do other things. You might already be using crystals, diffusing oils, or wearing oils. You may smudge, you may be doing other practices. But one thing that I found incredibly helpful was daily Epsom salt bath. Epsom salt, think of it as a way to literally draw energy off of you, out of your aura. It can be incredibly, incredibly beneficial. Okay, so whether you believe you're empathic or you are just very sensitive or you're having a struggle with energy, you're feeling kind of wiped out, or just resonating with the idea that you are perhaps ungrounded, these can be really beneficial and very simple practices. I am just going to say one last thing regarding grounding yourself. The practice that we did, make it simple for yourself when you repeat it. Don't focus on any of the words that I've said. Your only focus needs to be that you know where to start at the root chakra. Send the roots down and go slowly. Anchor them around the core. Draw the energy back up. Breathe it through you. And anytime we send the roots down or up, we want to go slowly so that you do not lose your energy. Breathe it up all the way through you. White light, protection, and then glass bubble. Very simple. All right. So I believe I have a Stacy calling. Stacy, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
I sure can. Thanks, Stacy. How are you tonight?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Happy to hear from you. How can I help you tonight?
Um, so I was wondering if you could tell me whether or not I will succeed with my own spiritual business and
Okay.
what spiritual gift or niche I should be focusing on that's going to set me apart from everybody else.
Okay, so I'm going to take a moment, Stacy. I'm actually going to just take a quick second. I'm going to scan through you. When I scan, I often pick up some things about your psychic gifts. So I'm going to start there, and then I'm going to bring some of your questions to Spirit, okay?
Perfect.
Okay, so Stacy, a couple of things pop up for you, and know that, of course, this is just a little touch into your energy. So, of course, anything I pick up, it's not all there is to your gifts. I'm just touching on a few things as an intro, okay? So, and whether these are gifts that are fully open, or if they're developing, or if they're yet to be discovered, I just want to acknowledge them. So, the first thing that comes up is that you are, in fact, very visual, and so there is a clairvoyance gift for you. In addition to that, I did have a sensation in the forehead, which always indicates claircognizance, the psychic sense of knowing. In addition to that, I'm sure that you would likely identify yourself as an empath, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when we go a little bit further, there is a sense of a sensation that I get in the upper arm, which in my world always indicates physical clairsentience. So you actually have a capacity to feel sensations as a reflection to other people, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then in addition to that, there was an energy around my mouth, which first of all indicates that you have purpose around using your voice speaking. So I know it's not a matter of being, let's say, I don't really mean limited, but limited to doing energy work without sharing message. So there is message involved in your purpose, or your purpose isn't always about what your gift or your work is per se. However, they can be wrapped up together, especially when you're working in this field. So that came up for you. Now, there was a sense of spirit literally speaking through your mouth. Now, I don't know if you've experienced this before. Some people actually have moments where it's almost as though when they're doing mediumship, spirit literally almost takes over their body, or at least their words, where things just seem to fall out of your mouth, and you might be just as surprised as anybody. Have you had that happen?
Yes, I have.
Okay, that's very interesting. I don't have that happen, but I recognize it in others. So that's very interesting. Now, I'm just going to go a little bit further, and I'm just going to see what I find for you.
Thanks.
You're a very creative woman, are you not?
I can be.
Well, I want you to know that at this point in time, whether it's an animal guide or whether it is in fact a messenger, there actually was a unicorn that showed up for you. Okay, so I'll show you the book that I use. And if you care to, you're welcome to message my page after the show, and I will send you the message of the unicorn. So as you see, my book is very tattered. This is like my Bible. I'm very connected to animal guides and animal messengers. And an animal can be your guide, but not necessarily your messenger or vice versa. But unicorn itself is representative of creatives, representative of artists, representative of those who are very pure. Now, I will just share with you a few pieces around your purpose. So what I see is literally fire underneath you. So I feel motivation, I feel drive. I do get success around career, around choices, actions to be made, building a career in a spiritual sense. I want you to understand that a lot of what happens for you, though, is going to be largely based on the actions that you take, the choices that you make, your own belief system and your belief in yourself. Okay, so we are huge creators of our own future, but the success is there for you. Now, for you, I want you to know that I, for whatever reason, have a big connection for you around animals. And it could be more like me, where you're, connected to animal symbolism, animal guides. However, it might be that you're connected to animals in a way that you're very intuitive or telepathic, working with animals, whether you're connecting to those that have passed or working with those that are living. I get a strong sense around actually channeling messages more so than healing work. I did see cards. However, I know it's not all about cards with you. The biggest suggestion that I have when a person is looking to kind of figure out what their path is when it comes to spirituality is it's spirituality part of me, and I guess their exploration of anything that they might do for work is, it's kind of like following the breadcrumbs. Pay attention to what excites you, what you feel pulled to, where your drive is, and go there. And it might offer you everything you're looking for, or it might offer you just one tiny piece that you have no idea how beneficial it is, but it adds to your stockpile of information, of experience. Now, there is, like I said, there seems to be energy around channeling with cards and without cards. Now, I did have a glimpse of you, though, and I want you to know this. I do feel like for you, you're very, you have this bubbly way about you, this ability to connect with people. You feel fun and lighthearted. You've got this wonderful energy about you. I see you doing something that, can put you in a position where you can reach many people at one time. I would really suggest something that you would have a social media presence, in a sense that you would be doing something interactive, something like this, or a YouTube channel or something, but something interactive is what I see you doing.
Okay.
And
That's
the one
interesting.
thing, okay. And, I want you to know this, Stacey, that it's not always about, the next step. Sometimes I could be seeing far down the road. Where you start and where you go are largely about choices. But again, follow the breadcrumbs and see what feels good for you. Now, with you, currently you're more drawn into the healing work. Is that correct?
I did take a course in healing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm lacking confidence in my channeling abilities.
Okay. So, and I can relate to that, Stacey. I can tell you, I started doing this about 6 years ago, and I can tell you between my experience and so many of the people that I've worked with that confidence, trust is the hardest thing. It's truly the hardest thing. And, I describe my entrance into doing this work as flinging myself off a cliff, basically. I was so very, nervous. I was afraid of making mistakes. I was uneasy being, in a kind of a public eye. I was worried about other people's judgment, all sorts of things. And, that's a lifelong issue. That wasn't just about this work. And, I can't say this enough that, throwing myself into a position that was super uncomfortable was literally the hardest, but the best thing that I could have done because there was no going back. And the only thing I could do was keep going. I had the drive, it was what I felt passionate about. And there is so much that you can learn by putting yourself in a vulnerable position and working with people and testing your abilities and there are ways that we can't possibly get feedback and acknowledgement, I guess, of our gifts and the messages we bring unless we share them. So one thing I would suggest to you that, if you have people in your life that you might already be that might be open, perhaps they're dabbling or working in this kind of thing, or perhaps they're just very supportive of you. My suggestion when it comes to things like channeling is to be able to say to somebody, I don't need you to tell me if this is right or wrong. I just want you to help me understand what I'm getting for you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
How currently are you doing channeling work with people, or is it simply that you're picking up a lot of messages and you're not quite sure what to do with them?
I'm more so like I run into acquaintances and I'll just spew out stuff from past loved ones, and
Awesome.
I just don't even know. Like, I get so anxious if I don't say it, and then once I release those words and share the message, then I feel better.
Yeah, that's amazing. Isn't it funny how messages work? Sometimes we can hold on to things, even if it's because we don't understand them. But spirit kind of is an egg, and it's like it'll keep coming up over and over. And sometimes it just won't let go until you spit it out, whether you understand it or not. So you're already putting yourself out there in ways that is excellent. You can always find other ways or create other ways that you might have an opportunity to purposely tap into someone's energy and be able to give them feedback at that point. And have you ever just sat in someone's energy for, let's say, maybe 10 minutes just to see what would pop up, setting the intention that you're connecting with them and their spirits and their guides, just to see what would pop up for you to share with them?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so my suggestion, this is what I practice and this is what I teach. I always have the belief that, I need to be clear and I need my space to be clear before I do the work. Okay, and then my intention past that is I make sure that I'm grounded and protected, and then I ground and protect my client or my friend, whoever I'm working in. And it was my friends and family members for a very long time. At that point, what I do, because I do the grounding protection because I know that I'm intact then, and I know that they're intact and they're going to have a better experience. Sometimes when you work in people's energy and they're not well grounded, they can become dizzy or lightheaded, just not feel very good. So I try to be mindful of that. So at that point, I set intentions. All I do is I ask spirit, I ask my team of energies to connect me to my client and their team of energies. And I ask that I receive information for that person for their highest and best good, safe for me to give and for them to receive, and only information that's truthful and accurate. So based on that, intentions are so powerful. They help us to focus on what we want and leave out the rest. We never have to worry about where the information's coming from, if it's for this person or if it's not. But it would give you an opportunity to very purposely be in somebody's energy and be able to test things out, perhaps in a way that's safe. Okay, and when I say safe, I just mean more comfortable for you.
Yes.
Okay. And I just want to follow that with, it's important to always ask to disconnect from the energy that you're in. And so whether it's, a specific person or whether it is a loved one, a spirit, I suppose, that's just popped up, set the intention that you're disconnecting. You could even visualize almost like chopping a cord between you and that person. And to me, that just signifies to spirit that this interaction is done. I personally, ensure that I'm grounded and protected, and I always disconnect. And I don't ever feel anymore that I have any challenges in curing residual energy. It's a wonderful thing when you give that message and you feel that lightness, right? You feel that release. So
Yes.
if there are any challenges around that, though, and sometimes there can be lingering energy, an intentional disconnect can be really, really important. Mm-hmm. Now,
Okay,
do you
thank
have
you.
another specific question, Stacy, about your practice before we're done?
I don't think so. I did just want to share with you, though, that I have a unicorn, and Spirit uses it to, like, it'll set off the music on it when it's in a different room and nobody's there, kind of in
Really?
where I'm floating myself, and yeah, so it's really cool that you said unicorns, because
Wow.
of
That's
all the
amazing.
toys I have here, they chose this unicorn and they set it off. They have a
Amazing.
message and I'm not listening, or
Well, thank you so much
yeah.
for sharing, Stacy. Please feel free to send me a message at my Facebook page, Emery Christie Psychic Medium, and I'd be happy to send you a picture of the unicorn writing in the book that I use. I'd love to share that with you and see which part of the message is relevant for you at this point. Thank you so much, Stacy, for
Awesome.
joining me.
Thank you.
Have a fantastic
Thank
night. Now, we are almost at the end of our time together for this week. I wanted to thank you very much for joining me. As always, it is such a wonderful opportunity to be able to work and share with you. I am happy to hear from you. I love the suggestions I'm getting on topics that I can follow up with. Please feel free to contact me at any point in time with your suggestions, and I look forward to being with you next week here on Messages, Magic, and Musings. Thank you.